One, Ezekiel Elliott, who, there are many things we can touch on in this story, but he was detained briefly and cuffed by Las Vegas police over the weekend. No charges. It would have been a misdemeanor assault charge. There were no charges filed. The security guard that there was a level of confrontation with and who fell down did not want to press any charges. He was quickly released, which was a good thing because all of this happened at 3 in the morning in Las Vegas, which would be 5 in the morning, Sunday morning, Dallas time. It's a good thing charges were not pressed because Ezekiel Elliott's football camp for youngsters started in Frisco at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. So 4 hours after he was in cuffs at an electronic dance festival, Ezekiel Elliott was, I'm not sure he was back there for actually the start of the camp at 9 a.m. That may have been pushing it a bit, but he was back and did take part in his camp. So I would say if you're going on questionable or poor judgment, one would be exhibiting behavior at 3 in the morning in Vegas that would lead the police to cuff you. 2 would be once you return to Frisco for your football camp and a few hours into the football camp where you do a TV interview with Channel 11, who is also helping like co-sponsor your camp. And during this interview, you talk about how you've matured, and sure, you made some mistakes when you were younger, but you've learned from those as you go forward, knowing full well within 8 hours of when making those comments that you were in cuffs in Vegas, even though it had not come out at that point. I would say that may be number 2 on the poor decisions that were made by Ezekiel Elliott to start the week. And look, that doesn't even get into the fact that he was in Vegas at an electronic dance festival.
Wearing a LeBron
Electric
James
Daisy, yes.
Wearing a LeBron James jersey and yellow Air Jordans.
So I think we can all, however you want to characterize the level and red flag this incident raises, I think we can all agree that there were poor decisions made from 3 a.m. in the morning on.
Yeah,
starting Sunday.
You know, the first thing that crosses my mind after watching the video is,
Yes. Yes, what is the first thing that crosses your mind?
Honestly, the first thing that crosses my mind is somebody's at this festival and they've got nothing better to do than, like, follow him around with what appears to be an iPhone camera.
Sure.
I guess
thinking, I bet if he does anything, I'm going to be able to make some bucks from TMZ.
Sell it to TMZ, which is exactly what happened.
Sure.
Secondly, Zeke's following.
Because the tape does meander for a while.
It does.
Along with Elliott.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shots of Zeke just walking around.
Which are not very flattering in and of themselves either.
Not particularly, based on some of the gait that is displayed. I don't know. I mean, it's like, there's so many pieces here of a world that I don't grasp.
You're not into electronic dance music?
Well, I do like electronic dance music, but usually I'm done with my electronic dancing by 3 a.m. There's just a level with the pro athlete and, in particular with NFL players, that just doesn't add up to me. If I was running a camp for kids on a Sunday morning, I don't think that then Saturday night would be a going out necessarily late night. Certainly not one that then required me to take a private bird home at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that's where you catch your sleep.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think the way you've said it is, it just doesn't display great decision making. It doesn't mean that this doesn't mean Zeke is a bad guy. It
No.
doesn't, I don't know that this goes in the file of awful behavior or anything. I just don't know that it's the kind of decision making that you say, this is the guy that long term I'm going to entrust my franchise to.
Well, yeah, and what many things going on here, but one of them I think is there has been this narrative that has taken root this offseason and was continuing to grow that Cowboy fans wanted to buy in and Ezekiel Elliott wanted to sell, which was, oh, look, you're not hearing about episodes from Zeke anymore. You're not hearing Ezekiel Elliott, this incident happening at a club, or he was in this traffic, altercation, or this happened. Wow, listen, this, and it even reached the point where last week.
Did anything happen last offseason?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, as I always say, nothing that came to light publicly.
Correct. Okay.
And I will always put it in those terms.
Yeah.
Because the other side is you can get better at stifling these incidents from coming to the forefront.
Correct.
But look, I think that it even reached the point where last week, and I believe we discussed briefly what happened with Kristaps Porzingis in Latvia. And that happens. People locally are talking about that last week. And what is one of the narratives that emerges from that? Oh, remember when those sort of things used to happen to Ezekiel Elliott?
Right.
Guess what? Those don't happen to Elliott anymore. Maybe Porzingis will be the same way. Maybe Porzingis will be like Ezekiel Elliott and will mature as we go along. And then you have this incident. And so I think a lot of people probably overreact to this one incident from the point where they were fooled from the standpoint of, oh, well, there hasn't been anything in a while, so Elliott's fine. We're never going to have these episodes again. And people logically don't think through, both things can be true. I think Elliott is more mature now than he was when he first came into the league. I don't think he is putting himself in as many bad situations for himself to make bad decisions. But that doesn't mean he still doesn't put himself in those positions.